Now, Ken initially, per the letters we saw, was supposed to undergo a surgery in March. Now, after that biopsy, why didn't Ken communicate to the special prosecutor and probably arrange to meet the special prosecutor? I mean, for me, this is a very important point. So, look, you indicated you're going to do a surgery and you needed time post surgery. You agreed. And for all those who even criticize the OSP, I mean, you may not be happy with the way they've gone about things, but at least the moment Ken indicated that he was going to undergo a procedure, he was going to undergo a surgery, the OSP removed his name, okay, from the red list, on the Interpol red list, and said, let's meet in June. When Ken went through that biopsy, could he have come to Ghana? Why didn't Ken, for instance, inform the OSP, but waited till the last minute before writing to the OSP? It's also important to know whether Ken has been hospitalized since March 2025. Is he a flight risk? For instance, what's the flight risk assessment? Can he fly? Can he not fly? If Ken can fly, can he come to Ghana? Because look, when you say, "Oh, I've spoken to my doctors," yes. So today, Ken is done with his surgery. His family is issued a statement. The wife is granted an interview. Why is he not in touch with the OSP? Because you can share all of these things with us. If the OSP pretends not to have seen it, but officially communicate with the OSP, because since you've indicated your willingness to come, you can actually share your doctor's report with the OSP now saying, this is what he has done, this is the period he needs to recuperate, and so based on that, I'm going to get into Ghana on this date. And then that's it. Look, Ken is served as finance minister of Ghana. And for those who know the workings of government, the finance minister, people have referred to the finance minister is actually like the prime minister. The real person in charge of the economy is the finance minister. If the president pushes the finance minister and says, "Mr. President, per the figures, we cannot do anything," and the president doesn't sack him, the president would have to go with what he says. Because if the finance minister, so I wouldn't want a situation where Ken Ofori-Atta, former finance minister Ghana, is being handled this way. So please, it will be important, because I just saw on I'm trying to follow. I've seen something that the director of communications strategy and research of the special prosecutor put on his Facebook page, which suggests that his monitorings have indicated that between March and now, he's asking a question whether he's been able to fly, for instance, between March and now, when he said he was in the US, whether he's flown to, say, London, for instance. Look, all of these things are not necessary. Ken's family should deal with a special prosecutor. Since you're telling us your medical records and the fact that you've gone to do surgery, let the special prosecutor know exactly what is wrong with you and pick it up from there. That is the most important thing at this point.
Right. So I guess because you end on this at this point, I guess it makes me want to ask. So at this point, if it was you, at this point, would you come?
If it was me in this state, well, I do not know the state in which Ken is. I do not know. He's telling me the state in which he is. But as I've indicated to you, if I were in Ken's shoes, I would communicate with the OSP, because that is the only way you go about this. And if I were in Ken's shoes, if at the time that I realized I wasn't going to do the surgery, I would have communicated. Because look, what's the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund?
GIF.
GIF, the former CEO, when his name was mentioned, he actually responded and said, I am here. I'll be coming to Ghana. He came to Ghana. When Gift Yowari Mensah.
But by the way, just to be clear, even he was described as hiding in
Yes,
another country.
but then he eventually he said, no, I am here. I'm going to come into the country. When Mustafa Hamid's name was mentioned, he came out to say, here I am. When Gift Yowari Mensah, oh, she's out of the country, you're trying to find her. She came to the country. The point is that, look, come to the country. If you say, I haven't done anything, come. If you're going through medical procedures, share those details with the OSP, okay? And make him aware that, so you can get your doctors to communicate, okay? Because this is your medical record. If you want them to know, they would know. If you say no, they shouldn't share it, they wouldn't share it. But now that you're telling us, oh, I've gone through the surgery, it's been successful, what more can we know? Share those details with the OSP directly.
So, I wonder, Kojo, I mean, at this point, what are the options available to the special prosecutor? If Ken either can't or won't come.
Unfortunately, I'm not a lawyer and I don't understand the operations and the procedures of the special prosecutor so much, so I can't speak for them. But on the Kent side, Lord Kenya once said, Asimbia Nina Soyemiensa, said the Uhuno, said the Mihuno, and in quarry, right? In any case, there is the defendant, there is the key complainant, and then there's the truth that must be established based on all the interactions that will happen, right? On the Ken front, he was a finance minister for Ghana for 7 years, right?
Yeah.
Almost 8 years. He managed the public's finances for 7 years. So the public is interested in his service to the nation and the impact of that service to the nation. And the public wants to know if the allegations against him are true or not, right? So as a man and as a public servant who served us for 7 years, it is up to him to help the OSP to establish the truth so that Ghanaians get closure. Not so. On the party front, his service to the nation contributed to the loss of his party, right? And his party is going through a very bad time. Now, if he's found guilty, it's going to affect the stakes of his party. If he's found innocent, it's going to affect the stakes of his party. So if he cares about his party, he would want to come down to answer these questions so that his party also gets closure. Because for the first time since I started following public matters and public issues, Ken was the first finance minister that publicly had his MPs rising against him. I may be wrong. If there are any precedents, Winston Kojo, you can draw my attention to it. So he is not just an average CEO or an average deputy minister who wasn't important in the running of the affairs of the country. He was a key guy who helped us to run the country. So if the allegations against you, if I were him, I'll do my best, get my doctors and my physicians to put me in a great shape as fast as possible for me to come and answer these things. So that, one, I'll get closure myself, because at his age he should be retired and enjoying his retirement with his family. So that the nation you served will also know that, well, you served us well or you didn't. Right? And your party, which is going through a very terrible time now, will also get some information and some credibility to restructure. So that's how I see the whole thing. So if I were Ken, that's what I'll do. I'll come down as soon as possible, as soon as I can, to answer these questions so that all these things are cleared out of the way for the three key parties in this to have their closure and to move on.